Paper for today says pioneering legacy. Cameroon's mourns first female lawyer, barrister Marina Weleji, who passed on some days ago. You can find more on this publication dedicated to barrister Mariana Weleji. In that said paper, the paper reports on Manawo Bay, Bonambile Hill, Seke for water supply projects across the Manawo Bay area of Bimbia subdivision. We move over to this other story. Kumbatu Council advances development with Caterpillar acquisition, and let's take you to embracing local cuisine. It says Professor Oben proposes sustainable path to food security, and we take a bow with this one. That report on our online journalists, bloggers sharpens skills to promote human rights reporting across the media sector in Cameroon. We move over to the next publication for today. Let's move over to next door Limbe with the Sun. The Sun newspaper of Nobed Wasu for this morning report on Nyat absent halt all business in parliament. Government CPDM keeps sealed lips. And Tico SDF reorganization. George Tayebo versus Joe Ba Nabim. Get to read that story on that said paper. Custom Director General Edwin Fongon Novaga congratulates his communication chief Ekokobe Jean-Claude. And this other public story, it says two Anglophone female first quits stage. You get to read more on barrister Weleji, who was the first female lawyer in Cameroon, and General Nana Abuno Marie Etengeneng, who was the first general of prisons in Cameroon. That is what you can find on page 3. Who is starting a construction of Bamenda Market? That is what you can find on that set paper for today. Away from that, let's move over to Luju. Luju for today talks of presidential elections 2025. Paul Atanganji bans coalitions. You can find more on the paper of Aman Mana of Luju for today. MTN Elite 1 playoff suspended. Get to read details on page 9. Away from Luju, we take you to Le Messager. Le Messager talks of political transition 2025. He says Motse Abbas responds to Titis Ezwa. And in that said publication, Gaundere, how the governor and the mayor of Gaundere are in this sorry, you can find more on that paper for today. The Politics Hebdo says it's already 10 years after the demise of Lapiro de Banga. That is the politician, the musician turned politician who died in Norway some years ago. As the Politics Hebdo says, it's already 10 years on as they honored his memories on the publication of the Politics Hebdo. And citizen movements, the celebrations in Cameroon across some towns and cities. We take you now to this other paper for today. Let's make a stop over with Cameroon Insider for this morning. It talks of thunderstorm, heat wave, floods in Yaoundé, Douala, Limbe, Bamoso, Cameroon in face of a climate change. Get to read that story on that said paper. Documentary depicts Paul Biya's Prodigal's presidency, and Paul Atanganji warns politicians behind illegal association. And this other story, hospitals badly in need of blood, and we take you to MTN Elite 1 to playoffs and kicks off. Get to read more on that paper for today. CBC Health Services, Professor T. Eras N. We move away from that publication to the next story. That is the median. The median for today of Stephen Ojong talks of desperate maneuvers to oust Biya. Atanganji fires 10 warning at promoters of clandestine political alliances. In that said paper of the median of Stephen Ojong, renewal of Parliament Bureau, a paper report on Biya to prolong Nyat Kabayege admits health fitness concerns. And we move over to Bombay Bakundu 15 to the 17th of March 2024, the 42nd edition of the Bakuda Annual Conference to produce fireworks. And Fikafood, 62 players suspended for age fraud. We move away from that paper. We take you now to Nigeria with the Punch. The Punch for today says 35,000 naira more on that paper. 30 states fault labor fumes pensioners threaten protests. And in that said paper, the paper says federal government restores electricity to Niger, lifts sanctions, reopens borders. Federal government plans fresh borrowing via Eurobond in June. And Nigeria lambasts accountant general commissioners over UK workshop. You can find more on that paper on page 21. Vanguard for today reports on more controversies over 3.7 trillion naira gap in 2024 budget. And in that publication, kidnapping no ransom payment to criminals element, according to Nigerian President Asiwaju Bola Ahmed Tinubu, who talks on that paper on page 9. Nigerian lifts sanction on Niger, opens borders airspaces to the West African nation of Niger. Edo 2024, it says Shaibu Oguzwa challenge Igalo a candidacy in court. The sports paper of Punch Sports Extra for today's have as lead story, proudly made in Nigeria, where it says Tanzanian defender Tinamu credit NPFL for debut Eagles call. Hal John fit for the Red clash. And in the paper reports on how Napoli couldn't make it to the next round of the Champions League last night. You can find more on that paper for today. Reds battle Czech champion. You can find that sports story on that said paper for today. We come back home with the Guardian Post. The Guardian Post says Minat's outing on opposition alliances. Nincho-led coalition strike back at Paul Atanganji. And we move over to this other story to promote decent work staff social security. Faircom signs companies collective agreement with government. UBA Africa guarantees fund partners to support SMEs all across the continent of Africa. We crossed over to this parliamentary newspaper, Ekoju Parliament, for this morning reports on the International Women's Day celebration of the women from the Senate. It talks of a strong celebrations. You can find more on that paper for today. The Actual Economic newspaper reports on public financing. The good point of the reform of the public financing sector when it comes to digitalization. All kudos to the finance minister Louis Paul Motaze, according to the Actual newspaper. The agriculture and livestock sector, the paper reports on how government have planned to inject some 100 billion CFA francs for the promotion of livestock and agricultural sector of the country. The Voice newspaper of Randy Joseph for this morning says 2025 presidential elections. It says controversy erupts as Minister Paul Atangaji bans political alliances. And this said paper, UAE Global Contest, it talks of ICT university students aim for goal with breast cancer detection app. And the Voice report on Northwest Independent Conciliator dams Womb Council as champion of corruption. And we move over to build us a new market. Build us a new market. Bamenda women calls the appeal to Port Bia during the 8th of March Women's Day celebrations. We move over to the hot paper for today that talks of the fight against malaria. This launching for the Far North region to house malaria in that part of the country. Dr. Jamila Lilia, the paper report, an emblematic figure when it comes to the promotion of good health in Cameroon. We move over to the next publication, that is the Horizon. The Horizon says 2025 presidential elections, BR regime jittery over transition. That's a question you can find on that set paper's front page. And Emmanuel daughter to graduate from Harvard University. Get to read more on page 7. Exemplary leadership. Senator Foneko Mokete, the fourth gets international recognition. Pioneer Cameroonian lawyer barrister Mariana Wileji dies at the age of 86. Get to read more on that said paper for today. We take a bow out of this. We end this first part of the program with this paper, La Voix du Décideur report on where is the money. You can find more on that said paper for today. That is what you can read on La Voix du Décideur for today. Opinion, this says Cameroon is in not in the shape that she ought to be, according to La Voix du Décideur. Viewers, with that publication for today, this is what put a stop for this first part of the program. But do not move a muscle, as our resource person or reviewers, they will be seated here with us in a jiffy. Good morning to you, our viewers, and if you are just joining us, you are on to Press Brief, and this is the second part of the program reserved for our reviewers. Today, we are having two of them, the gentlemen of the Further Estate. By my left, I'm having Buzi Tata, who is a journalist, still practicing already. And by my right, I'm having Bakali Cyprian. Good morning to you, gentlemen, and you all are welcome to the program.
Good morning, Larry. Thank you so much for this opportunity. It's a pleasure to be on ITV once more.
All right, and good morning to you, Cyprian.
Good morning to you, Larry Brown. Good morning to the viewers of ITV, and thanks for having me again today.
All right, we start the program with the first paper, The Dawn. The Dawn newspaper for today says pioneering legacy. Cameroon mourns first female lawyer, barrister Mariana Weleji, who passed on some days ago, and she happens to be an entrepreneur and owner of one of the leading hotels in Limbe, Holiday Inn Resort Hotel.
I think it's a sad moment, Larry. We just from the International Women's Day when we were celebrating the woman, and around this period to lost such a colossus, a businesswoman, and a woman who perhaps we can say is the first to believe in law in Cameroon. Like the paper says, she's the first lawyer. I think it's a reminder as well of how far we've come. Once upon a time, Cameroon had just one female lawyer. Today, we've gone a step further, and we have a good number of them spread across the national territory. And I think so much because people saw how others were encouraged to as well go that way. So may I so rest in peace.
Amen. And Cyprian, about that?
Thank you very much once again, Larry. Just on the morning when I came here, I was talking about losing Marie Teresa, Marie Abuno, and today we are losing again another person that is a lawyer and an entrepreneur, Madame or Barrister Weleji. Is a big loss in the Cameroon landscape. It's a big loss to us. I see her as somebody who has continually been a booster in other women out there, and we're just celebrating, like Buzi said, in past days, we're celebrating International Women's Day, and these are some of the women that just come to add more meaning in the life of other people who look up to them. Not only the women, but us to look up to this personality because their impact in society has been of really great help. So if we are losing her today, we just but pray that her soul rests in the bosom of the Lord.
All right, we move over to Kumbatu Council, still with the Dawn newspaper on page 6. It talks of Kumbatu Council advancing development with Caterpillar acquisition.
It's an impressive move there, I must say, Larry, because I think these caterpillars are looking at bulldozing the roads and the rest, and generally there is the old saying, where a road passes, development follows.
Definitely.
I think it's a beautiful initiative, and we are looking forward to see the developmental projects which this caterpillar will accomplish in that part of the country. And as well, we hope that the random fires that usually burns these highly costing equipment won't touch these, but they will serve the purpose. And at the end of the day, Cameroonians in that part of the country will feel better, will be able to carry out the activities because they'll have better roads. All right.
Cyprian, to you, I put you this one from the Manawobi and Bonambile community of Limbe 3 in the Bimbia area, who hails the mayor of that locality for water supply projects that have been realized according to the Dawn newspaper.
Okay, Larry, if we look at some of the towns in Cameroon or neighborhoods in Cameroon where they have problems of water, electricity, you see that Bimbia Manawobe is one of such places. This is not only a normal neighborhood in Cameroon or in Limbe. It is a very important site as it hosts the Battalion International Rapid Forces, that special force of the President of the Republic, and other inhabitants that make up the city of Limbe. And if the mayor is taking this initiative initiative to ensure that they provide electricity to these inhabitants, then I guess it is a good move. Like I was saying on Monday again, we're talking about all activities that are going to make Cameroon emerge by 2035, and this initiative just come to give hope to the people of Cameroon that actually what the head of state stipulated that Cameroon is going to achieve emergence by 2035 is actually coming to reality. We have seen, just like you said, from Ibuzi, construction of roads in Kumba, and now electricity. If there should be more of this initiative carried out by councils in Cameroon, then it's going to facilitate the developmental process in Cameroon, and I guess it's going to make the inhabitants happy, because all what Cameroonians need now is development and peace. And I just guess that this box come to give life to the community, to the people living in it, and to Cameroon as a whole.
All right, Busi Chair, we crossed over to Grand Afrique newspaper. Grand Afrique newspaper asked the question: what was it before Ianakwa Avant? That is from Madam Minister, so the Secretary Cortez of Housing and Development, who asked this question in her one of her trips to the northern part of the country, where they were complaining like the road is not good, the road is not good, and she asked the question Ianakwa Avant. So what do you make of this the stuff of Madam the Minister Ianakwa Avant, according to according to Grand Afrique newspaper for today, that is actually trending on the social media space of Cameroon?
You know, Larry, one moment when we sit and we have peace, one government official just wakes up with another wave of violence. we have to accept it and ride on it. I think this is provocative. I actually saw the video online, and I in the excerpt which I saw, a musician happened to treat the video such that he responded with the things which were there, answering the minister.
That is Richard Bona,
of course. Answering the minister, since she to know what was there. It looks like before the Biya regime, Cameroon was in darkness, so to say. And I think this is bad coming from such a high personality. We expect more. Even if you have a point to make, there is a manner in which you make it. And just to say that, at least I would not expect such a thing from her. Why? Because we're looking at housing at a time when there is complete disorder in the cities of Cameroon. So to have such a minister ranting, it's provocative. Look at what happened with the flash floods.
Yeah.
The houses which were brought down there at Wonyalyonga in Boya here, and it showed that they had built on waterways. What is the Minister of Housing doing about that? Look at what happened in Yaoundé, I think 3 or 4 months ago, where there was a serious landslide. What is the Minister of Housing doing about that? And so many other things which have been happening. And all what she can say is there was perhaps little or nothing before now. I think it's provocative, least expected from her, and she better goes and shows Cameroonian what the Ministry of Housing can offer, rather than through such provocative slangs.
But looking at Madam Minister Celestin Cortez, she has been a calm someone who doesn't get into wrangling of such magnitude. This actually means she was provoked and pushed to the edge by these set persons who actually post this kind of worrisome issues or derogatory in such derogatory manner separate.
I want to first start by thanking or appreciating the works of Madame Celestine Cortez. She has been a calm woman, as you said. We have seen her in all media platforms talking about her drives to making sure that Cameroon develops in housing. She has been assisting other colleagues of hers, like the boss of the transport service ministry, other ministries that are helping her to see her ambitions of urban development in Cameroon come true. And if Buzi is saying that those words of hers were provocative, I would not want to buy that with Buzi. Somebody pushed her to say those things. Like, let's not take it in the form that because you just sit here and maybe you are just sensing what the tone might have meant in your memory, and you are trying to see that it was uncalled for. Someone like Larry said provoked her to saying those words, and if she's coming up to say that, then it's just to tell Cameroonians that she's really trying her best as concerns urban planning in Cameroon. So let us just give her our support. Like you said, she has engaged in many activities in planning of sick houses. You have been seeing her. I think that's one of the ministers, if I'm to vote for her to be given an award, I would say Madame Celestine Ketsapiche should be given an award, because her works when it comes to her ministry is superb and should not be questioned by anybody. So that word used by her is just to tell Cameroonians that she's trying her best. Let them just continue supporting her.
Stop. If the one on her ID, she was forgetting the date, is it 19 or this? When she had an ID card, that's just to tell you the different ages a single Cameroonian can have. And this is a real problem, and it is just beyond that single player which has been called out. It is back to us, and I think sometimes when we want to question and call these players to order, we should as well first of all start by interrogating ourselves.
Sure.
Are you sure you who is making the noise on the social media, the age you have, is that your real age?
That's a question.
I'll leave it there.
Okay. Cyprian?
Okay, Larry, the case of this young man, Etienne Douala, who has been spotted in social media by many persons as have reduced his age, has really raised many eyebrows in the Cameroonian football world in general. Many people have lamented that this man went to the AFCON, did nothing, but he's about posing Cameroon this very serious problem. Like Buzi said, the age reduction aspect is not only for Etienne Douala. Even me, I'm very sure that the age I have is not my real age. I'm trying to be real. I'm trying to be real.
So you two are one of those people.
And that's why part of the persons who are trying to blambangast Etienne Douala, I'm trying to see what actually happened. This, I guess, is going to pose a serious problem in the FA of Cameroon, the Football Association of Cameroon, as Article 47 of CAF football rules states that any player who is spotted to have reduced his age is going to have pending dangers on that country, not even on the player himself. And how many questions that Cameroonians keep asking themselves is, what is it that this young boy who went to the AFCON was still carrying the woofer? That is it the one that's going to give us this problem? That is what is even disturbing Cameroonians today.
The smart speaker. The smart speaker.
Yeah, so you see, Cameroon might risk being eliminated from 2 consecutive AFCONs if this is proven to be right that Etienne Douala actually reduced his age. But it has not been confirmed, and Cameroonians, I understand them because they are a football-loving people. Yeah. There are people who love their darling team, and anything that want to jeopardize that aspect is what Cameroonians kick against 100, I would say 101%. So we should just continue being optimistic. We should just continue supporting him. He's also going through a very tough time, given the fact that he's the one that's going to cause this. And
but permit me to come here. We saw the reports done by our colleagues in Paris, France. That is Le Monde newspaper. They did an excellent job, which I doff my hat to them. We saw the intricacies, how they actually were able to track this Etienne Douala. I don't know how to call him, Etienne or Bala. Is this Baladedi or Balawat, something like that? So he had another name and with a different identity back in Douala, but now he goes by another name and with another age, funny age, according to social media post of his, according to the reports done by Le Monde. We saw a publication of his when he was kind of 21 or 22 some years back, and now this guy is now 17 years old. And let's be factual. If you want to do something, I think gross exaggeration of it is what speaks volumes. Like the other guy, of the Cameroonian guy who played, I think that was the last 2 AFCON or so. He said he was 20, and you see a man, a bar-headed old man, are saying he's 18 or he's 19 or he's 20. So I don't know what is actually wrong with Cameroonians towards this gross exaggeration.
I will not want to start with Cameroonians. Let me talk about Africa in general. You see, that general concept is practiced in the whole of African teams. you will see Nigerians say as well, I'm into sports, so I better interact with this person, especially when AFCON matches come up like that. They'll say that is football age. So actually we have normal age and we have football age. In this case of Nathan Douala, it is actually giving me two problems, because I love my country, I love Cameroon football, and if Cameroon should miss in 2 AFCONs, I don't know what I'm going to do to myself, because I'm not going to be able to bear that. So like I was saying, the case of age reduction is real, not only in Africa, not only in Cameroon, even European football. We have heard of cases of other European players who have been banned because they actually tampered with their ages. And if Ethan Douala should have gotten
Baladeli.
Baladeli should have gotten himself into this, I want to really say no to this act. Let them just stick to their real ages, benefits. Then the aspect of you putting your own country in jeopardy is what should not be promoted in Cameroon. And I want to also blame this Cameroon FA Association. Why did they not do their proper checks on this player? Is it that they knew, or they just allowed him because of some, I put it in quote, I know you, come and play, just take the money? Because we did not even see what he did. Like I was saying, he was just carrying the woofer and dancing
funny dance steps that I don't know where it comes from.
Are graving at, because is he going to be that person who's going to cause us this great thing? He had not even.
Now why don't you go to a football school?
How many do we have around here? That's another question. And as well, how willing are your parents to support the football dream? That's still a field which in our context is still gradually being adopted. People are trying to believe in it now. So before you get to Elite One, your age is already against you. You go now slicing it, maybe with an axe or something, to at least come back a little young, so you can pick up, because that's actually the peak of your career, going to Elite One and trying to future with the Indomitable Lions. So I think if maybe we can build up a system where athletes or better still talents can be picked at various ages while they are still young, and groomed and given the advantage to be part of the national team per se, the under-17s and the rest. They would be able to go to the international stage while they are young, and reduce this issue of age cutting.
All right, to move away from age reduction in the country to the Post. The Post newspaper of late Francis Wache from Boya says, who is sitting on the files of the Bamenda market projects? That's the question the Post is asking. It says 10 years after prime ministerial decrees, 4 years after giving out contract to who is stalling the projects. That's what is happening with this Bamenda market project construction, and now that the stuff is burned, because you see this thing, it was given the contract was awarded by the prime minister 10 years ago, before the fire incident of
it's a sham.
2 weeks.
You know, it's a sham.
And let's say hadn't been it was constructed, we wouldn't have had this scenario that we had.
You know, it was terrible. First and foremost, imagine, I don't know if you saw the picture of how the fire at the Bamenda main market, how it emanated just in a shop. A little flame, we saw it just in the shop, and later on it couldn't be put out. We hear of shops 300, according to the papers, being burnt down. I think it's really a terrible situation, and there are so many people to blame. I would want to start first of all by blaming the Bamenda city mayor, because concerning rent, they already asked, they're trying to increase rents for market stores there in Bamenda. Now the city mayor came in. I understand it's something which did not originate with him. His predecessors definitely should have signed out the contract to 1 or 2 people, but he's the man in charge. And if you don't raise the alarm and say, where are the files, where is the money, it means you're part of the gang who is eating up its investigations. One of these days should focus on that. Because if you ask me, I think so many fishy things are going on there, and so many people, there was no infrastructure put in place to ensure that fire can be put out should it erupt.
Even the passage itself for the firefighting brigades of Bamenda, for them to sail through,
it wasn't easy. It wasn't
we see in a market where the council of Bamenda keeps on in case there is an inferno for them to have a passage.
You see, it's terrible. And all what they do year in year out is to collect rents, hold council meetings, earmark projects, use budgets, and we never see what they do. I think serious investigation needs to be put there, and the culprits need to be brought to book.
All right, so let's cross over to our other gentleman.
Okay, thank you very much once again, Larry and Bozy, for those you know the predominant happenings in Douala, Cameroon. But I'm going to concentrate in Douala, Cameroon, because I know that's something that's becoming a phenomenon. I'll put it that way in Cameroon. This Bamenda main market was constructed in 1950 with no electricity. But now it got to a point where it had electricity, and this project was to be carried out in various phases. One of the phases was to be carried out from June 2019 to February 2020, and supposed to provide assistance to 21,000 IDPs, that's internally displaced persons, and 4,000 inhabitants in the Bamenda 1, 2, and 3 councils. But in February 22nd, 2024, this devastating fire outbreak occurred in the Bamenda market. Now, the question I want to ask myself, or ask those who are, for example, will say that it's a wrong connection of wires that caused the fire to emanate. But if you know it's wrong connection of electricity wires, what are you doing to make sure that these electricity wires are properly connected so that so as to avoid possible fire outages in our markets? Bozy was blaming the mayor in Bamenda, the Lord Mayor in the market.
The city mayor, Paul Achumbong.
He should get into work. Like I was saying on Monday when I came here, if you remember very well, Larry, these officials like maybe give them pass out rules to their subordinates. Go do this in the Bamenda market. Go arrange the electricity. Go and arrange the roads. But they don't come to check if the work has been completed. And if this happens, you have no one to blame but yourself. Like I was quoting the example of you as a man. You are the one to manage your home. If you don't manage your home and something happens, everybody in society blames you for anything that will happen in your home at that time. So if this is happening in the Bamenda main market, then nobody should be blamed than Paul Atobong, the mayor of the mayor that's supposed to take care of development activities in Bamenda. Is devastating effect. People have asked the questions: where are the fires? Reconstruction of the northwest and southwest region, and if we are hearing of fire outages in the set regions where this developmental aspect are supposed to be carried out, then we just wonder and ask ourselves question: where is Cameroon really heading to? This is a place, this is a part of the country that's the major national dialogue heard in Yaoundé, and if we hear of fire outages in our market here in the southwest region and particularly in the northwest region, we just but wonder. So I'm calling on our authorities that are involved with the Bamenda main market. They should do something to making sure that this market is reconstructed, because it is serving as a very important asset in the life of this 4,000 households, in the life of this 21,000 IDPs, in the life of the country as a whole, in the life of Bamenda, because it provides income to the state. And why should they not cater for the development of this market, the reconstruction of this market? So we're asking ourselves, where is the fine? We cannot answer that question. Just the authorities that are concerned with the market should be able to answer this question.
Well, we have this phenomenon in Africa and in Cameroon precisely, where we construct, where we don't have the maintenance culture. Hadn't been the maintenance culture was being stipulated, we wouldn't have had what happened to those more than 300 shops at the Bamenda main market. Away from that story, we cross over to Yaoundé with Lujo newspaper of Manamana for this morning. Says presidential elections 2025, Paul Atanganji bans coalition for political change in Cameroon, led by the Honorable Jean-Michel Nyuncho. What do you guys make of Paul Atanganji's decision to ban this political movement of transition of calling for change in the country?
Larry, this is an interesting story.
Okay.
And I noticed most of the papers had it this morning on the front page, just to tell you how important and serious it is. We're just a year to the 2025 presidential elections, and we've already started seeing the fight between the government and the opposition parties. And first of all, I'm happy to see that the opposition is doing something, at least. Even if it's the right or the wrong thing, the first thing is they are doing something. And for that, I congratulate them, because for a while, we've asked ourselves, if opposition parties are waiting for 2025, the morning of the elections, to wake up and start doing campaigns and everything. But to see them up, this indirectly is another way to sell out, because there are people who never knew Nincho, though he was part of territorial administration, Paul Atanga Nji, banning these alliances. Of course, there are two of them. But if you're keen with Cameroon, the Cameroon political landscape, you understand these alliances are three.
Okay.
There is one which is the presidential majority. And now
calling for the continuation of
the mandate of 91 years old President Paul.
And that one is not a topic for discussion.
Of course. And
talk less of being banned.
and so we're looking at it from this angle, that these two a group of parties, legalized parties, come together because they think that coming together can bring the long-awaited change in a democracy which we think we are. And now they've been shut up.
Of course, we are in a democracy.
Oh, if you say so. And maybe if you say we are in a democracy, it will bring back the question, why can opposition political parties not come together and do something? Now, the minister says it's illegal. These alliances, it's illegal. What about the presidential majority? Could it be that as well they are illegal? Food for thought. Away from that, the minister raised the issue of these Nincho and his co, the visiting the
jail separatists
prison, visiting separatists, which the minister labeled as terrorists. Now, the first thing is, these people did not visit them out of the country. They visited these people in a facility being run by the state.
In Yaoundé.
Meaning they were authorized to see these people, because when you go to see people, I have happened to visit the Bamenda Central Prison, for example. You go, you say I want to see this person, and the people controlling choose to either give you access or not. So these people seeing Sisiko and the rest in jail, first of all, I don't see any problem with that, in the sense that they are under state control, and the state controls the prison, and the state was the one, or the judiciary, or whoever controls the prison, was the one that gave them access to see these people. They might have been labeled terrorists, but maybe they are Cameroonians in the first place. Away from that, Larry, at this point in time, I think the minister should be more concerned on monitoring these activities to ensure that they remain legal and they don't erupt any chaos other than completely banning them. I think there is a system we have in the country where everything, the first thing we do is to ban. And now, once you ban, you give these people, and people now tend to focus. It shows that these people have something to offer to the Cameroon population, and people want to now start aligning with them, because if Nincho was just doing his things and going, people will be like, this guy will never arrive. But once people notice that the state has eyes on them, it shows that that's something important. It shows that those guys care up to something. Those guys can actually have a say in the 2025 presidential elections. And slowly, osmosis happens. People will start being attracted towards them. I think, to me, and based on my study of the situation, listening to several people speak on the issue, I think the Nincho and his co, they are in the ambit of the law, because they are under legalized political parties.
And they are represented. Coming
together to see how they can tackle presidential elections. Remind you, the only time opposition came close to the presidency in 1992 was due to a coalition. And so if you are telling us that a coalition or an alliance is illegal, then you're simply saying we just remain, there's no need for an opposition, because they will never get to the presidency and give the change which they want to offer. If we are in a democracy, they should be given a chance, but a chance under the fact that they maintain peace, they maintain order. If that is not being tampered with, and they are carrying out their activities under legalized political parties, carrying to ensure that Cameroon is developed, carrying it not to provoke chaos or war, but to bring about peace and development, I think maybe the minister was overreacting.
Okay, let me move over to you, Cyprian. Cyprian, is Atanga Nji Paul overreacting, as our friend put it?
You know, this aspect of alliances does not start today. in the 1914, in 1939, we had alliances. When the First World War broke out, Second World War, we had alliances, Shimpo Alliance, Shimpo Entente, the Cordial, you name them. And this transition that was or alliance that was taken by the Alliance Politique pour le Changement and the Alliance pour une Transition, those political parties, I think it should not really be a case to handle by the Minister of Territorial Administration, like Chebouze puts it. You are just trying to give fame to these people. But now I ask myself the question: how real is this how real is this coalition? Why did it just start today? We are just, like Buzi said, 1 year to go for the presidential elections. And we will start seeing these acts coming up by different politicians and political parties. We just ask ourselves the question, what is their motive? If these coalitions are meant for the right purposes that they are to serve, then I guess it does not pose any serious problem. All we want in Cameroon is peace. All we want in Cameroon is order. And if there is anything that can bring us this peace, order, in the shortest possible time, that is what we should go for. Let's the pack led by
Honorable Jack Michel
Nietzsche and Maurice Campos coalitions, and the host of others. I think they did not do something bad. They went to Konogi prison to go seal this I put it in quotes, separatist fighters, because it has not been confirmed if they are truly separatist fighters.
Leaders and the leaders. So, but we had the verdict of the court, the Yaoundé Military Tribunal, who passed her verdict on them. So it's appropriate to label them as separatists, those who want to destabilize. Anyways, so that is it according to the military tribunal, not according to me, of course. So you were rounding up, please.
Yes, Larry, I was saying anything that will bring peace, order in Cameroon is what we should go for. And this coalition, I would think, should be encouraged, because what did they do? They go to talk to the people. Like on Monday, we're talking about one newspaper here that we saw another coalition going to visit these people in jail. That aspect did not portray anything of them talking about political something of that would cause the state to lose fame. No, like Buzi said, they were in the ambit of the law. They did it in a place where everybody sees them, state-owned property. They did not go to the United States of America. They did not go to the Canada to go talk with these people, but they were in the country. So it should not pose a serious problem to the Minister of Territorial Administration. Like I said, anything that will give us peace, that will give us order, that will cause pain to rain, that will make Cameroonian man to drink water and keep the cup down. That is what,
as they say in the
drink water, drop cup.
We should encourage these coalitions.
Okay.
We should encourage these alliances, but it should not be, I repeat, it should not be for the benefit of those politicians who want to feed fat on the flesh of their kingsmen. No, if you are that politician who is having this mindset that I'm doing it because election is coming, yes, I want to be voted as a member of parliament, I want to be voted as a president, I want to be voted as a senator. No, you should not get into alliances to bring peace in your country because of this reason. But if your motives are for peace, order, and security of the country, protection of the country's rights and sovereignty, that is what all Cameroonians pray for. That is all what we wish. Even us seated here, we want the change, we want the peace, we want the order in our country. So I want to really appreciate Maurice Campos and co, who took that initiative to go meet these people in prison, to talk to them about what they are the ones who know. I was not there to know what they were talking about. But if this coalition should be for positive reasons that will bring peace for country, I guess it should not bother our Atango man. They should just sit in the military and just see how it goes. And also, they should continue doing their own part of the developmental, peaceful, and other bringing aspects of the country.
All right, to move away from that story from Lucio, we'll wrap up the program with the last paper for today. That is Cameroon Insider of Marie Claire Nana. For this morning, talks of thunderstorms, heat waves, floods in Yaoundé, Douala, Limbe, Bamoso, Cameroon in the face of climate change, Hebega. Gentlemen,
I think I would want to first of all start by asking Bekali to take a look at that headline.
Okay.
Yeah, because it points out so many issues, flood and the rest, and that should have been the concern of the Minister of Housing. Anyway, that's just an aside.
Can you just leave that lady alone?
Okay, I've left her alone. Now the rainy season is coming,
Okay.
and it's a yearly phenomenon. But I think we've had this for a long time, and we should have been thinking about developing sustainable ways in order not to have the consequences of the advent of the rainy season too hard.
Okay.
It was around the same period last year, February, March, that we had the flash floods, if my memory is good
in
enough.
the month of March.
And the rain is back again, and I tell you what, it's here to stay. Now, all the things which have been carried out during the dry season, and we were going away with it because the sun was there and there was no so much shaking. Now the rain comes to prove it out. I think it's a call for concern. How much planning do we always do before the rainy season?
That's it.
Are we just there to react, or we are proactive, or we are there to act before these things happen? It's true, everywhere in the world natural disasters occur, but it's better to play your own part, do one or two things to ensure that even if it happens, it won't be that or so much devastating. So we need to go back at the level of our municipalities, at the level of even the regional assembly, and then now to the ministry. Go back during the dry season, ensure that everything is put in place. Houses are built properly. We go back to building permits, and drainage systems are open during the dry season. So much dust and the rest ground is put under all of this, and no one really cares. Then when the rain comes, it is very devastating.
Okay.
I think during the dry season, we should be able to build systems which will be able to monitor our communities, so that with the approach of the rainy season, we would not be found wanting.
All right, Bekali.
Yes, thank you very much once again, Larry. The rainy season is here again. This time around, it came very early, and we should be expecting anything to happen. Like the other day, I was talking to my friend in Yaoundé. He told me the very heavy rain caused their roof. Means they were left open. The things got soaked in very high volumes of rain. And now we'll just ask ourselves, these things continue happening in the past years. Last year we hear about it. The year before last we see about the same thing. What is the government doing to tackle this problem? Bozi asked a rhetorical question I will not want to answer about the works of Madame Celestine Kita-Cotes as regards urban planning in Cameroon. I was just like saying, oh, Bozi should not proceed with this question because I had actually nothing to tell him. But I just beg on these authorities. This year should be a change. I guess as the rainy season started early this year, it's going to drive in their mind something that, hey, these aspects are becoming serious. For the past years, I've noticed that different towns in Cameroon have what is really plaguing them. In Boya, we'll talk about a flood, the one that happened on the March last year. In Douala, we hear of landslide. Mud flow. In Yaoundé, we hear about landslide as well, like like the one at Barmayo. Yeah. We hear about removal of roof of houses. In Douala, it also causes fire outages. So these different towns have what is really plaguing them, and therefore the Minister of
in Bamoso, we hear of floods in Zian Division. Where you hails from?
The Minister of Housing and Urban Planning should really see into this and make sure that she tackles each towns according to the problem they are facing.
Okay.
With Boya, we have a problem of flood. What can they do? Provide proper drainage systems that will be able to cause us not to be experiencing this. In Yaoundé, what should they do? Install facilities that are going to detect possible landslide and also provide lasting solutions, because what always happens is that they always go providing partial solutions to these problems. They go and give mattresses. Mattresses will not solve anything. Mattresses will not make the landslide to be eradicated completely.
Okay.
But please